Let us see one more session, and in this session let us learn one more 8 marks question from the chapter Biology in Human Welfare. This is the last what we can call a long answer from this chapter called Biology in Human Welfare. Okay, now in this chapter last 8 marks question is W.bancrofti. What is that called? W.bancrofti. Now it's commonly called filarial worm. What is that called? Filarial worm, because as it causes a disease called spellings I am writing filariasis. What is that called? Filariasis. Basically it is a digenetic parasite. What do you mean by digenetic parasite? It completes its life cycle in 2 hosts. That's why it is called digenetic parasite. Okay, that lives basically in the lymph vessels. It lives in the lymph vessels of man. Now here it is. A great scientist, namely Sir Patrick Manson, identified that female culex mosquito as its a secondary host for the disease. Now if we take the structure, sexes are separated, males and females are separated, and a sexual dimorphism is present. What is sexual? Di means two, morphism means morphological forms. So males and females are distinct. Sexual dimorphism is distinct. The body is long and narrow, and the body is filiform. What is that? Filiform, and the body is creamy white in color. The body is creamy white in color. Now continuation, let us see. The anterior end is blunt. If you take the anterior end is blunt and posterior end is pointed, and the posterior end is pointed. Anterior end is blunt and posterior end is pointed. Mouth is present at extremely anterior end without any lips. So these are the general morphological forms. Let us see the male worm. Male worm posterior end is curved. If you take the posterior end, it's curved with a cloacal aperture. You do know very well about cloacal aperture, right? A pair of unequal chitinous. If you see the chitinous or chitin made chitinous, spicules are present. Okay, these chitinous spicules are nothing but copulatory spicules. They are also known as copulatory spicules. Is present in the cloacal region. Here, if you take the female worm, its posterior end is completely striated. And anus is present near the posterior end. Here, the female genital pore, if you carefully see, female genital pore is present at mid-ventral line from 1/3 length from the mouth. 1/3 length from the mouth. It is commonly a ovoviviparous organism. What do you mean by ovoviviparous organism? It can lay the eggs in his life cycle. At the same time, it can give birth to an young one or larva. Such kind of organisms are called a ovoviviparous organism. Life cycle. It completes its life cycle in 2 hosts. You know very well about the 2 hosts. Okay, namely man and the secondary host the culex mosquito. Now, in man, both males and females are coiled together in the lymphatic vessels. Where? In the lymphatic vessels or lymph vessels. Right? After copulation, while they were in the lymphatic vessels, after copulation, female releases sheathed, what is that? Sheathed microfilarial larva. Sheathed microfilarial larva into the lymph of man. Into the lymph of man. Each sheathed microfilarial larva, measures about 0.2 to 0.3 mm in length. It is surrounded by a loose cuticular sheet. It is covered by loose cuticular sheet. What sheet? Cuticular sheet, which is supposed to be modified shell. They migrate into the blood circulation. Okay. So it shows a kind of migration. What is that called? Let us see. They migrate to blood circulation and reside in the deeper blood vessels during daytime. They live in deeper blood vessels during daytime. Whereas during night time, they comes to the peripheral region. Such kind of tendency is referred as a nocturnal periodicity. What is that called? Nocturnal periodicity. Okay. Now, if you see the exclusive life cycle, how males and females are coiled together, you can see here. Okay. And you can see here sheathed microfilarial larva. You can see the sachet shaped structure. Okay. So all these structures we are going to see now. When the female culex mosquito, if it bites and sucks the blood of a infected person, there its life cycle will be started. It enters into the gut of mosquito. Now, they die if they are not transferred to the mosquito within 70 days. If it is not transferred into the mosquito, if it remains in the human blood only, it will die before 7 days. Okay, within 7 days, if it enters into the mosquito, it will alive and it goes for further modifications. In the midgut of mosquito, sheathed larva dissolves within 2 to 6 hours of the infection. Now, the egg-sheeted microfilarial larva, okay, the egg-sheeted microfilarial larva, it penetrates the gut wall, and reaches the hemocoel of the mosquito. Now finally, from there it reaches to, you can see here, from there it reaches to thoracic muscles. From there it reaches to thoracic muscles and transforms into sausage shaped larva within 2 days. Now this is the stage larva called first stage microfilarial larva. This undergoes 2 moltings. How many moltings? 2 moltings or morphological changes. 2 morphological changes are occurring within this first stage larva and transforms into long and infective third stage microfilarial larva. Long and infective third stage microfilarial larva. It reaches the labium of mosquito.